Welcome to r/EntitledParents. In today's stories, an EM who is furious about Pokemon Go, an ED who is mean to a doggo and pays for it, a parent who loses their mind over a blind marshmallow, and another parent who thought someone's injury was self-harm. Oh my word. Hey guys, I hope you're well. If you enjoy Reddit stories, don't forget to click that subscribe as you'll love the rest of our content. And with that being said, let's get started. Our first story is from MaddieHasAlias. I hope I got that right. EM is furious about Pokemon Go. So the other night, I decided to go to the local lake and walk around to play some Pokemon Go. There's dozens of Pokestops around the lake and quite a few gyms too, so it's a prime location to play. Also, I'm 22 and I went with a friend who's 28. It was a quiet night, not a whole lot of people walking around. We approach a park and shelter area and notice there's a raid about to start, so we sit at the shelter area to play it. I'm not sure how to explain this if you're unfamiliar with the game, lol. We happened to be the only people there, and across the trail was a park with a few kids and a mum barely paying attention. We're sitting there waiting for the raid to start for about 5 minutes when this mum comes over to us. The entitled mum says, "Can I ask what you're doing here?" I say, "We're playing Pokemon Go. Why?" She replies, "Well, it's pretty creepy you two adults are just sitting here near the park. You need to leave." I reply, "What? We're minding our own business. Maybe you should too." "You're making me and my children uncomfortable. I don't know what Pokemon Go is, but it sounds like an excuse to watch my kids." "Well, we'll only be here for like 10 more minutes, lady. We aren't watching your kids." "Ridiculous!" She then storms back over to the park and sits on the phone with someone. About 3 minutes later, she grabs her kids and comes over again, yelling at us that now her kids can't enjoy the park because us creeps want to kidnap them. She also explained to her children, who both look to be younger than 10, that they need to leave because we're going to hurt them. I was baffled and didn't even know what to say. It was a public trail, public park, public shelter, and on a lot of days, there are dozens of adults playing Pokemon Go. It was so strange. I don't personally get the Pokemon Go thing myself. Close to me, there's a train station. There must be like one of these Pokestops or something that will raid or whatever, because seems like one time a week, about 30 adults, I mean fully grown adults, 30-year-olds plus, are all gathered at this one place talking to each other and getting excited about these raids. I mean, it's not my thing, but each to their own. You can't go around accusing people of being like kidnapping children because they're sitting in a park. I mean, what the hell? What is your thoughts on this one, guys? I'd love to know below. This next story is from ToxieWalk. Edie breaks my dog's ribs and gets choked out. So this happened last week. On mobile, sorry for existing. Some backstory, I have a pupper, the bestest pupper. She's a Doberman, which is a Doberman Great Dane mix. I know, super creative name. Anyway, her name is Riggs, and my fiance's dog name is Murtor. I hope I got it right. He's a small black/brown pug. Rig is black, like jet black. Think super evil dog black. She's around 10 months and already weighs around 84 pounds. She'll probably tack on another 100 by the time she's grown, so she's a big un. Being so big, she doesn't walk like normal doggos. Unlike normal dogs, she doesn't walk around people, she walks through them. She uses her weight and pushes people out the way. Now this is important for later. One of her favourite things to do is lean all her weight on someone's legs. That and sit on Murtor. Don't know why. Okay, enough backstory. Here's our cast. Me, Commander Shepard's sexier cousin. MI, the missus. I see you lurking, you beautiful lady you. EK, whiner kid who turned out alright. ED, angry dad. PO, the saltiest sergeant there ever was. So me and the missus took the kids to the local doggy park. Murtor, looking like a burnt marshmallow, was running around freely. Riggs was on a leash because she's still a pup, and people find her intimidating, so it's just easier. We're walking along to the corner of the park so the kids could do their business. When I turn around to ask the missus for a doggy bag, there's a loud scream. I immediately whip round to see Riggs, tail wagging, tongue flopping around, picture perfect happy doggo, and about 15 feet away is what looks like a 10-year-old kid, shaking like a leaf about to cry. I say, "Hey kid, you okay?" EK's voice is shaking as much as him. "Keep that monster away from me!" "Kid, you're okay. She's not gonna hurt you. She's a big pushover." I pet her for emphasis, and she flops to the ground, and rolls over for belly rubs. I say, "See? Nothing to be scared of." The EK says, "She's not going to attack me." I say maybe with kisses, but that's the only thing you have to worry about. Do you want to pet her? I hold her collar real tight. EK nods slowly and starts inching over to Riggs, whom is paying maybe 10% attention to EK. As he gets within range, Riggs starts sniffing his hand, then starts licking it. EK giggles and starts rubbing her head. Now Riggs is excited. She's found a new friend to extort itchings and scratchings from, so she starts leaning into the scratches. EK is struggling under the weight because I'm pretty sure they weigh the same. Seeing as they're having fun, I loosen my grip on Riggs' collar and I'm holding the leash. Riggs takes full advantage of that and leads full on into EK, and they both go down giggling. I'm happy I helped the kid get over his fear of big dogs, because most big dogs are super chill, good boys and girls. Suddenly, the happiness ends with an ear shrieking, "Hey!" I turn around and see a mid-30s 5'10" guy stomping his way over towards us, stopping a few inches from my face. Well, neck. I'm much taller than him. The missus gets behind me, which already has me on edge. I don't like her being afraid. The ED says, "Did you just let your dog attack my kid?" I say, "No, they would just play," and he interrupts me. "You should have this beast put down, letting it attack kids like that." I say, "Do you think I'll just stand here and let my dog maul a kid?" The EK says, "Dad, I'm fine, we were just playing." And then I say, "Yeah, your kid was scared of my dog, so I encouraged him to face his fear, and now he's got a new friend." Now, dear readers, to a normal person that sounds very reasonable, but ED only picked up on one thing, and he yelled it. ED said, "You made my son get face to face with this vicious dog." Meanwhile, the vicious dog was whining about not being petted for a whole minute. The missus tugged on the back of my sleeve, and my missus said, "Honey, let's just go." She hated confrontation and wanted out of this. I nodded at her, letting her know that I was going to wrap this up. She nodded and went to collect Myrtle. I say, "Listen buddy, your kid is fine, nothing happened and we're leaving. You're not worth it." While we were talking, Riggs was inching towards EK looking for some pets since she's horribly neglected. ED sees this and kicks Riggs right in the ribs, hard enough to lift her front paws off the ground. She yelps loudly and falls down whimpering. Now, I'm not a people person. The missus is helping that. I've been doing martial arts for years. It really mellows me out. Great stress relief. So I'm usually a big teddy bear of a man, but nobody hurts my dog. Game the F on. I shove ED hard away from the missus and Riggs. They check on her. She's shaking and crying, but she'll be okay after a vet check. I tell the missus to call the cops, then I go full mama bear and go to confront the ED. I say, "Why'd you kick my dog, you psycho?" The ED replies, "It was trying to bite my kid, so I'm putting it down." I reply, "You're not putting down anything, and the cops are coming for you now." ED sees the missus on the phone and goes to take it from her. I step in front of him, and he takes a swing at me. I push it out of the way and get him in a headlock. I choke him out and then drop him face down into the grass. The cops weren't too far away, because they got there within about 10 minutes. In that time, Edie had woken up, tried to hit me again, and then ended up pinned down while I waited for the cops. The cop who arrived was the sergeant. This guy had a cigarette in his mouth and looked like he ran out of F's to give decades ago. He walks up and I let Edie go and step back. The police officer says, "What the F is happening here?" Edie starts shouting. "This guy had his beast attack my son, so I stopped it." The police officer looks back at me who's checking on Riggs. "Is this what happened?" I do my best to calmly give my side of the story, and this police officer is just staring us both down. He looks so done with this whole mess. He asked EK what had happened. EK said, "We were playing, then fell, and my dad started yelling. Then he kicked the doggy really hard." The police officer grunted a thank you and stood up. The police officer then said, "Okay, you're both going to come with me for questioning." Edie went white as a ghost and started trying to talk his way out of it. The police officer wasn't having it. I say, "No problem, but can I load my dog into the car? She's too heavy for the missus." He nods and lets me, then we go to the station. We were there for maybe 15 minutes before I'm let go. We press charges and he gets arrested for battery and animal abuse. I felt bad for EK, but the missus let him play with Myrtle while she waited for me. His mum picked him up and she was super nice, apologising profusely for her husband in a way that seems like she's not doing it for the first time. We took Riggs to the vet. She's okay. Edie's kick had cracked a pair of her ribs. She's got some medicine and is currently being spoiled rotten and loving it. Now it's in the lawyer's hands, and I'll update if anything wacky happens. And here's the picture of the doggos. How crazy is that though? How insane do you have to be to actually boot someone's dog hard enough to crack their ribs. I mean, it's not a small dog either. It's a massive dog. That must have been some force. What would you do in a situation if someone done that to your dog? Comments below, guys, as always. Now we have a story from GrumpyLucky, a great name, entitled Parents Lose Their Minds Over Blind Marshmallow. Bear with me here, the title will make sense. You all seem to like my last story about entitled Disney World guests, so strap in for round 2. One day I was working with Baymax. He's a squishy, lovable robot. There's a performer inside the costume, of course, who often has problems. In short, the costume is a pain and malfunctions quite a bit. I understand how this can be an inconvenience to guests, but I digress. Anyways, on the day Baymax had a super short line around 4 PM. There were no more than 5 to 6 families in line over a period of an hour. So when Baymax gave me the distress signal, I was concerned for him, but at least relieved that I wouldn't be disappointed people would waiting for hours to see him. I informed the line that Baymax needed to go recharge his batteries immediately and he'd be gone for 20 minutes at the very most. I told them that they were welcome to wait if they'd like. Anyways, 4 of the families in line shrugged their shoulders and said they'd come back later and left. The family who was next in line was furious. The parents ranted about how they were next to meet Baymax and they wasted all this time waiting to meet him and that I could possibly keep them from getting just a quick picture. Entitled Mum and Dad tried to shove their kid past me. Keep in mind that I have no idea what's wrong with Baymax. He could be hurt or sick or something simply might be poking him in an uncomfortable way. I always treat distress signals as if they're life or death because I have no idea what's going on. I stepped in front of the family, blocking them from Baymax while opening the door for Baymax to get back to the break room. I'm sorry folks, Baymax needs to recharge his batteries. It'll be 20 minutes max. You're welcome to wait. Entitled Mum goes off on me, saying that this is ridiculous treatment for a paying customer and that she's going to go straight to the front of the park to lodge a complaint. I'm not supposed to tell guests anything that's not magical when a character distresses. I make up a story relating to their movie to explain why they're leaving. However, sometimes I break those rules when it's an adult whom I'm trying to reason with. I lowered my voice and turned away from the woman's young son, who was kind of staring off into the distance, not bothered at all by the fact that Baymax had to leave, and said, "Mum, there's something wrong with Baymax. He might be hurt and I need to check on him." You know, trying to appeal to her human decency. But no, she still grabs her kid and tries to shove him at Baymax. Baymax smacks into me, hard. I move between the child and Baymax. It's clear to me that the camera that Baymax uses to see has cut out, and he's blind. He's a big, blind marshmallow that will squash kids by accident and probably hurt himself in the process if I don't get him inside. I eventually was able to guide the blind marshmallow through the door while fending off the entitled parents. Baymax's camera was fixed in less than 5 minutes and was back out meeting the guests in a jiff. Entitled Mum and Dad come back shortly after Baymax returned, screaming about how I said it was going to be 20 minutes and demand that I let them cut the line, which had 2 families in it. I refused and told them that they could either wait the 2 minutes it would take in line or they could leave. Entitled Mum made a big show about writing down my name. I told her to say hi to my supervisor for me and have the most magical day ever. That must have been fun just saying that sarcastically at her. I never quite understand why parents get so riled up, especially when they're at a place like Disney World. You're meant to be enjoying yourself and they're just getting stressed about lines and things. I mean, come on, man. Oh, whilst we're talking about Disney, what is your favourite character? I'm a classical man. I love a bit of Winnie the Pooh. I just love that stuff. I think he's funny as hell. Our next story is from Zero the Gopnik. I don't know. A short memoir, The Parent Who Thought My Injury Was Self-Harm. Yay. This has been on my mind for a few weeks now. After going out and my friend picked up that I had a scar on my arm, close to my wrist. I remembered that the injury was 4 whole years ago. I slipped and made a gash in my arm on a collision with a corner of a brick wall. Ouch. Not too much blood, but enough to still show after all this time. Names, me, take a guess. Susan, the entitled parent who thinks she's right. Kian, guy who pointed out 1 month before this event. Alex, the son of Susan. June 8th, I hung about with Kian and it was boiling. As such, I had a short sleeve shirt showing my arm. Went over to insert pastry shop here and waited around 10 minutes, stuck behind a child and his mum. Alex was the child and he took notice of the scar, gazing at it despite the age of it. He made a couple of comments about it, and wouldn't you know it, Susan saw the really old scar. She began berating me for the attention. Kian helped me with a word in since it was too sudden. Anxiety stops me from forming sentences in time. Then she yanked my arm, dragging me to a policeman. The main area of it was literally 12 feet away from the pastry shop, and told him that I cut myself intentionally. I was asked to lift up my arm, but I was both scared crapless and my arm felt like it was dislocated. Thankfully not. Kian was arguing with Susan, speaking the gospel truth about the injury, but Susan still believed it was self-harm. I tried to explain it as best as I could, but as soon as I opened my mouth, she swung her handbag and clocked me in the jaw. No teeth lost, but cut the inside of my mouth something fierce. I spat blood onto the ground, and I guess that really irked off Kian. He kicked her hard in the back of the knee, yelling to the officer nearest to Susan to restrain her. The officer saw that as defence, so he was able to do that legally. In my wallet, I keep documentation that proves my disabilities. In this case, autism, Asperger's, and hypermobility in the legs, meaning that she attacked not only a minor, no ID in my wallet, but a college lanyard, but against someone who is disabled. Kian helped me back up and dead stared Susan, saying the one thing I like remembering: "You touch this lad ever again, your kid get another reason to leave you for his PA. He ain't looking for goddamn attention, but you sure as hell are." He finished it off with, "Have a nice day," followed by the most sarcastic iteration of "Mom" I've ever heard. He may have also muttered skank as well, or at least that's what he told me. Sorry if there wasn't much speech, since I've got a crap memory. All I remember is the pain and the idiocy of Susan. What is it with these entitled people pulling people up about scars on their arm? Even if it was a self-harming scar, people that have self-harmed have gone through enough in their lives. They've obviously got some issues, and for you to pull it up and say that they're horrible and whatever, I mean, come on, man. What kind of world do we live in when there's people kicking others down that are already sort of fighting their way up? You know, it's just ridiculous. And as always, what would you do in that situation? I would love to know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this content and would love to see some more, it's on the screen right now. I hope you enjoy, guys. Thank you for being here. Take care. Goodbye.